If you're a geriatric millennial like me, you know that the word podcast is a blend of the words iPod and broadcast. The first iPod was released in November 2001, and at first glance, it's a little strange that the word podcast is now forever tied to this obsolete piece of tech. But podcasting, in its original audio only form, was more or less radio on demand. And radio broadcasting is now over a century old, and it was still very much a thing in the 90s and early 2000s, just like it's still very much a thing today. People like Ira Glass and Howard Stern were even doing innovative things with radio, but on the whole, it wasn't exactly a thriving art form. It took the iPod's global success, which was soon followed by the iPhone, to build broad interest in a new version of radio, locking in a weekly or daily listening habit for the young, demographically desirable audience FM radio no longer captured, and luring talented rising stars and A-list celebrities to make their own radio shows. The iPod took radio from a niche format with a few big stars to a vibrant medium that could drive culture. But technology gives, and technology takes away. And now, 3 years after the iPod was permanently discontinued, audio podcasting is starting to feel like a niche format once again. Video podcasts have been getting more popular for years, but now they've reached an inflection point where they threaten to drive audio into irrelevance. It gives me no pleasure to say this as an audio-first creator for most of my career, but the rapid growth of video podcasting is now pitting audio creators against sponsors, against platforms, against even the expectations of their own audience, and the odds are stacked against them. It's not surprising that traditional podcasters are not embracing video with open arms. Recording video adds significant cost to podcasting that raises the barrier to entry, not only for gear and studio design, but for the skills and time necessary to create a high-quality show. Video also reduces the control podcast editors have to polish dialogue or create seamless transitions. Narrative and documentary shows in particular take significantly more effort to produce with video, comparable to full-fledged film documentaries. Video even adds cost in terms of the effort it takes to look good on camera. It's something that disproportionately affects women and, performers with elaborate outfits, but even scruffy middle-aged guys can feel the strain. Along with all this cost, podcasters moving to video have to ditch the traditional RSS podcast feed that they've been able to leverage for better sponsor or network deals in favor of trusting these giant platforms that keep a bigger cut of the ad pie with their work. And not to get all artsy-fartsy, but video removes that theater of the mind aspect that allows creators to conjure elaborate worlds with nothing but their voice and some sound effects. Withholding the visual element creates a unique intimacy that video shows can't replicate. So, if that's all true, why make the jump to video podcasting at all? Put simply, it's because that's where the people are. The two top places people consume podcasts now are YouTube and Spotify. Apple, creator of the iPod, had the home team advantage and was dominant for years, but YouTube and Spotify combined now have about 60% of the market, and Apple has about 10%. But YouTube really is the number one player. And sure, some YouTube chat shows get treated as background listening like any other podcast, but videos that pair audio with a static image do not get traction in the YouTube algorithm. Only full videos with on-camera hosts get shares, comments, and placement for recommendations on the YouTube sidebar. Those flat audiograms that so many podcasters use do not drive discovery on places like Instagram and TikTok. Only clips of actual human beings talking into microphones do. In fact, one of the fastest growing sources of new podcast listeners is YouTube's TV app. Podcasts are becoming a replacement for TV talk shows for many viewers, and video that includes people talking on couches is a key piece of that transition. This is music to the ears of social media companies. And if this feels like the fourth or fifth pivot to video of the last decade or so, well, there's a good reason. Video ads typically command higher rates than audio ads. Facebook's infamous pivot to video in the mid-2010s sought to cash in on that, although they later admitted to inflating view counts because the real audience demand just wasn't there. This time, the podcast audience is organically gravitating to video, and that changes everything. So now Spotify just launched the Spotify Partner Program, a plan to let top video podcasters earn a share of subscription revenue, or the chance to include those higher paying video ads if they upload their video content directly to Spotify. And this not only declared Spotify's intent to compete directly with YouTube as a video platform while cornering those premium video ad sales, it's a direct attack on the traditional RSS based podcast ad market, which works on any platform and doesn't need to give Spotify a cut. If Spotify succeeds in becoming a video platform first and foremost, a huge chunk of what used to be audio ad revenue will be captured in its walled garden. And you see a lot of these platform shenanigans to maximize ad revenue these days, and they do not always serve their audience's best interest. There's a whole term in shitification for the degradation of ad supported products over time. But in this case, most listeners have no attachment to RSS feeds or platform agnostic advertising. They just see more shows offering video, which to them is all upside. More video makes everyone happy. Everyone except the people who actually make these shows. So the tech winds have shifted, and the money and celebrities are moving away from audio to something new. Podcasting as a distinct art form of its own is under threat. The video version is bleeding into YouTube and becoming indistinguishable from it, while the audio version is replicating the arc of radio. It's not going anywhere, but it's not driving culture, and it's not making much money. Veteran podcasters didn't sign up to be YouTubers, but they're now left with the choice to go that route and embrace change, or keep making shows for the fish in a smaller and smaller pond. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're an audio creator, you should understand the landscape and make that choice with eyes wide open. Or ears. Podcasting is evolving rapidly, and so is my job as a podcast producer. It goes beyond video. The growth of AI and sea changes across the whole culture industry are happening faster than we can process them. So this year, I'm planning to make occasional videos like this about the tools and trends shaking up podcasting, as much for myself as for you all watching. So if you enjoyed this, you know the drill. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.